Hello crafty friends, Amanda here with Crafting with Amanda, and this is another edition of May I Scraplift You. Today I found inspiration from this layout from Fran Long, and she's at Scrapping with Sparkle. I just love that name. So the first thing that I'm doing, I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but you'll get to see her layout again later, is her lettering on her layout was all like framed with different pattern paper in between, like filling in the letters. And so I thought that I would try my hand at it on Cricut. And there might be another way to do it. I know there's fonts that you can purchase, or probably if you're part of the Access, you can do that. But I am not a part of that. I figure I have so many cartridges and image sets linked to my account because we purchased a Cricut machine way back when you had to have the Design Studio software for your computer to do anything, and it was just the 6-inch machine and just have tons of cartridges already linked. So it's like, why reinvent the wheel? So the first thing I'm doing is my title is Phase 2, and I'm trying to make sure that it's all sized correctly. So I did the capital P first, and then I copied that, and then I changed the letter to each subsequent letter in my title, because then I knew they would all be correct, but I wanted each letter individual. I didn't want the whole phrase together, and phrase and phase might be confusing. But so now what I'm doing is I'm taking each letter in the gray word phase, and I'm doing a bold image of it. And then with the blue, I'm leaving it as a regular, but I'm also going to size it down just a couple notches so that I can overlay that into the bolded gray letters. And I end up doing each one individually, but to start with, I kind of choose one letter and get it close, and then you end up tweaking each letter as you go. So I put it over top of the other letter, the E, and then I align it so it's centered, and then you can see if you want a bigger border or less of a border and kind of go from there. It's not perfect, but it actually, for my project, I think it worked well. The only thing I would do differently is I would absolutely give myself a bigger edge on the outside of the papers. And then the other thing that I would do is I would turn off the contours for cutting out the solid letters, so that I could just pop them in behind and not have to fuss with putting all the different patterns in. It was just difficult, where if I had just turned off the contours on the full word, I think it would have worked better. So I went ahead and cut out all of my outlines on all the other letters. I'm doing the T last here. And again, you just kind of select those, center them. Cricut Design Space does a wonderful job. They have so many tools. Here I'm going to make sure that all of the letters are aligned to the bottom, and then I can kind of move them over left or right so that they overlap the way I want. And then I am going to weld those together so that it's one piece. And now here again, because I want to make sure that it's all sized correctly for my project, I'm grouping the two words. And so now I can see, because I'm going to just do a 4x6 pocket page layout today, and I'm continuing to do more photos from the California home, and so this is one way that I'm not going to take up a whole bunch of space in my albums, but I'm still going to tell the story. So what I'm doing now is I had joined those together, but now I want to have multiple iterations of it. So I just made a shape and I'm slicing it, and that's going to give me 2 representations of each of the words. So I have the first one that's together and kind of at an angle in the upper right corner, and that's going to be my overlay that has the outline on it. And then these other words, the phase 2, I'm cutting out of different paper colors so that I can fill in the letters with different patterns. I hope that makes sense. So I've saved that, and then here I'm showing you, because I chose each of the letters to be a different color, it's allowing me to place those words or letters on my mat. So I didn't show you with the letters. You can kind of see in the right how I already have that filled in, but I needed some tools, so I do the same thing as when I go to cut, I put my pieces of paper in different places on the mat so that I can just cut it all at once. Our photos today, I'm finally getting to those, are of this family room that we took out the floor and the joists, and underneath was this like outdoor patio area, we're guessing, that they in the 60s put a roof and walls around. And so it's just kind of brick in dirt, or sand. There's not a real solid surface to it. But when we took the joists off, we realized there was a platform made out of brick in the corner, probably for a heater or an outdoor fire pit or something. And then there was also a cement stoop coming out from probably the original door into the kitchen of the house. And I'm just using my scraps from Hello Handsome. I have used this paper in several layouts for these photos. And here in the corner, you can see Fran's layout where I got inspiration for the Let's Stay Home lettering that I did my phase 2. So because I did kind of a mishmash layering of leftover scraps on my 4x6 base, the words phase 2 were kind of getting lost because the words also have all of this different pattern paper. So I went ahead and mounted it on paprika cardstock, couldn't think of the name of it, and then I'm just hand fussy cutting out around the letters, giving it a nice border. It's not going to be perfect, but this is a project, or this is a layout that is journaling or telling the story of using a jackhammer to make rubble out of mounds or out of platforms in a remodeling project. So I'm not too worried about it being neat and clean, because I don't know, I kind of like to emulate some of the character of the photos on my layouts. So you can see phase is done. I'll do the word 2 off camera. And it really wasn't necessarily phase 2, but when you're in a project, it was one of those that we did all the progress that we could, getting the floors out and the joists out, and we were saving as much lumber as we could as we went. So we were pounding the nails out of the the OSB or plywood sheets, and then we kind of got to this point of, well, now what? So it took us a week to kind of make a game plan of, well, let's go rent a jackhammer, and it shouldn't take too long to get these two things out. And so that's why it was like phase 2, because we had a plan for the first part, and now this is the second part. So on the computer, I went ahead and did my journaling, and I also went off screen and assembled all these tools. Instead of just making enough for this one layout today, I went ahead and did 3 of all the different tools, just because I know I still have more home improvement projects and I still have more Hey Handsome papers. So that's what I'm going to use. Again, as a way to soften or to give a focal point to my tools that I made, I just grabbed some pine cardstock and cut some tags out of there, added a little bit of DMC embroidery floss for the pulls on them, and that kind of gives a place for your eye to find refuge, or refuge, I should say, because it's like calming. It's like, okay, here's the title, which is all busy and all, and then the journaling is down there, but the tags kind of give you that moment. And that's it. That's as quick as this layout takes. So be sure to check out all the others that are playing along in the May I Scrap Lift You. Fran, thank you for your inspiration. This is how you can connect with me on social media. All of my contact information and any supplies will be listed below the video. Blessings.